What's up, everyone? Right in front of the hot dog stand, Trey, Lyle, Steven Stumpf, Frontstretch.com, here for a fascinating truck race here at the Paperclip. Steven, let's start with, I guess you'll call him the headliner, the man who dominated the race in back-to-back weeks, but doesn't end up in victory lane. That is, of course, Corey Heim. Leads the, I believe you said the most laps of his career in this race, and ultimately he falls short again because of a flat tire that leads to a late race incident.
That is correct, and you're right about the most laps led. He led 149 of the 200 laps today. Unfortunately, does not result in a win. I mean, he led the first 106 laps. He swept both stages. He got back to the lead in 17 laps. Looked like he was going to dominate this race running away. Then some door banging with Caden Honeycutt on a restart, cut down the 11's left rear tire. He goes around. He still manages to finish sixth, but I don't think they're going to be happy with the sixth place after how dominant of a truck they had for the second week in a row.
Bit of a car he had in Corey Heim. He's speaking of Caden Honeycutt. There was first career win. He gets caught up in an incident with Ty Majeski. It seemed that Ty just made a kind of a mistake, which happens. He wasn't upset post race, but speaking to Caden Honeycutt like you did, where was his emotions at? Because he's had a really good season so far, and he was very close to getting his first career win.
I mean, his emotions, obviously he was bummed. I could see it in his voice and what he was saying, but you know, it was just racing. They were both going for a win, and so he didn't feel like there was any. He doesn't have any ill feelings towards Ty. You know, they were just two guys, just both going for it. And likewise, you know, he thought that, you know, he and Corey were just going for it earlier in that restart as well. By the way, I should also add that Corey wasn't the happiest person after that flat tire and that contact, but he didn't think Caden did it. He had any ill intentions of doing it. It just happened. Maybe he wanted more room, but once Corey was gone, it was Caden and Ty. They had an average running position of third. They were a top five all day, and Caden Honeycutt might get his first win this year, and it could have been tonight, but unfortunately he'll have to wait at least 2 more weeks.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a win not if situation for Caden Honeycutt, who's doing a lot of good in that niche truck, which, if you look at the last two guys who've done this good in a niche truck, Ross Chastain, Carson Usvar, they seem to done pretty good for themselves in the Cup Series. And let's move to the winner, a former Cup Series driver, a guy, you know, kind of on this redemption arc, at least what he wants in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and that is Daniel Hemric, the winner. To his credit, He didn't have the best truck tonight, but after everything settled in that final restart, he started third, and he passed 2 cars cleanly. He gets the win. He still does the backflip, which, shout out to Dalton Hopkins, who asked him last week if he could still do it. Ultimately, I think this is actually a nice win for Hemric. The 19 keeps its hot streak here at Martinsville Speedway, but ultimately, with that late race restart, he really took this one and ended up in victory lane.
Yeah, and you know, it's a feel-good story for him. It's his first win in NASCAR, his second win in NASCAR since winning the Xfinity Championship at Phoenix in 2021. And it was a really fun battle with him and teammate Tyler Ankrum and that final restart, the final 8 laps. You know, Tyler's going for, you know, his first win in almost 6 years in this series. I think he's at 120-something starts without a win. He said post-race when I interviewed him that he kind of thought he was doomed once Hemric lined up behind him just because he was going to get to the back of him. But, you know, he was fine with the race. You know, felt like Daniel, you know, got by him the right way. It was a bump and run a little bit. But, you know, again, for a guy that led, you know, more than 1,300 laps in Xfinity and only got 1 win, Daniel Hemric leads just 4 laps tonight, and he gets the job done for his first truck win.
Yeah, I believe now that brings his total up to 5 career laps led in race victories, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he led 48 at Phoenix.
Oh, well, he did lead the last one. I thought, whatever, keep it in there. That's it. All right. This is why he does the stats, and I host podcasts, folks. Simple as that. Well, speaking of content, we're going to have great content all weekend here at Martinsville. We got, of course, the Xfinity race tomorrow night. We have Cup Series drivers. We'll be talking to them tomorrow during their media session, so tune into that. Steven_Stumpf at Trey Lyle VT. Anything else you want to add before we get out here?
Well, I'll say this is my first experience at Martinsville, and it definitely delivered. Excited for what's going to happen in the Xfinity race tomorrow. We had the Triple Truck Challenge today. Daniel Hemric goes home $50K richer. Some lucky driver in Xfinity is going to win $100K tomorrow, and let's keep it going.
Sounds like a plan. And don't worry, folks. Steven will have plenty of those this whole weekend, and I'm pointing to the hot dog stand. But that will do it for us. Signing off for now. We'll be back tomorrow night for an Xfinity race, which could bring even more chaos.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Frontstretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Frontstretch fans can use promo code Frontstretch to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay, stay rewarded.
Kevin Nix with Frontstretch.com. Come back soon for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.